It's August 3rd, and here's the garden update. Things are going pretty well. Raspberries are looking good. Some of them actually made raspberries this year, which I didn't notice until after they were, past eating point. But that's kind of cool, that just in their first year. And almost all of them leafed out. You can see here in this row, these three duds. There's another dud in the middle. This is an unlucky row, and the first two on that row. But we're getting the rows mulched in and defined, and so that'll look neat and tidy pretty soon. The apple and the oats are now, I'm colorblind, so I have a little trouble with it, but Wendy says they're kind of browned and looking kind of dry, and probably they're ready to harvest, and we don't know how well it's going to come out when we've taken out a kernel and sort of inspected it. They haven't seemed very plump, so I think maybe we didn't water them well, sufficiently at some key times. Corn is getting tall. It's probably, the taller ones are 5.5 feet. Pretty good. And tomatoes that we, late in the game, we went and, got the 50% off tomato starts, because we just thought, how can we not have any, and we had the space here. And they all seem to have taken the transplant reasonably well. And the sunflowers are getting very tall. We're talking, as high as the top of however high I can reach. And some of these squash are doing really good. There's definitely some, you can see in there's some, they're sort of like, I forget the name of this kind of squash, but it's like an acorn squash shape. But the coloration is different. And there's a squash. I don't know if you can see under there. So there's definitely some winter squash in there. I don't know about the other kinds, the sweet sort of melons, and the watermelon plants are looking happy, but I don't know if they're going to actually make any watermelons that'll ripen. And then these green beans have really filled in a lot from when they got chomped by the deer, and there's flowers on them, pretty little flowers. And I don't see any beans yet. It's only been about a few days since I saw the first of the flowers, at least that I noticed. Some basil, very late in the game, basil starts, little seedlings that we got from Wendy's mom. So we'll see how they do. The carrots are all of a sudden bushing up pretty nicely. And another one of those 50% off starts, a sweet pepper. It's a purple, sweet, purple beauty, and there was a small one on it when we transplanted it and ate that. It was okay, it wasn't great. The lettuce is still, it's getting bitter. It's definitely past its prime. And under here we've put in a new batch of lettuce seeds, so hopefully those will come up all right. We've been trying to be better about watering. And the cabbage, also 50% off starts. Those have taken the transplant pretty well. They're definitely standing up and bigger than they were when we first got them, and that was, maybe like a week ago. And there's where we had the garlic. We harvested all the garlic a few days ago, and it's in the barn curing. And that's all like some volunteer arugula from last year and a little bit of volunteer chard that was in there with them. So we're going to plant that, I think probably in either kale, it's volunteer kale. So we're going to plant either more kale or chard in here, or a mix. And then here's the last of our late volunteer stuff, or late, starts from the nursery. Some eggplants, and who knows if we'll get anything out of these. I mean, they all came with little eggplants on them, so even if we get one eggplant each, that probably works out all right. And here's this purslane that when we weeded the corn a couple weeks back, or maybe 3 weeks back or something, we transplanted some of this purslane that was in there, as grown as weeds, and we transplanted it in here because it's tasty and it's good in salads, and it's really it's like I don't think I've ever seen purslane growing quite so vibrantly. It's the world's most fantastic purslane as far as I can tell. And the sorrel there is really starting to flesh out and look good. And I can see some weeds in there, it needs weeding. The cucumbers are really in top production mode now. And you can see this is 1 day's, actually, well, this is 2 days ago Wendy harvested a bowl full. And now, as you can see, it was 2 days. There were some that clearly got missed, like this, you know, was probably ready to be picked, you know, 5 days ago or 6 days ago or something. So it's hard to see them all in there, of course. So we missed some, but they are really cranking it out. This is Boothby Blonde, and they're really sort of at their, I think that they're best when they're basically still creamy white, cream, you know, a light cream color all the way through, except just a hint of yellow at the top, at the shoulders. You know, like this one is a really nice one. Once they start to get more yellow throughout, I think they're past their prime, but still very good. These certainly are going to be very hollow. The big ones will be hollow in the middle and won't taste as good, and the skin will be very tough. But, oh well, they might still be good for pickling. And the snow peas are pretty much finished. You can see the plants are browning and kind of dying back. They have a bunch of pods on them that are still good. But we're going to let a lot of those just dry out, you know, fully ripen and dry, save the seed on those. And nothing really much different to mention. You know, the trees continue to look like trees. We've had a lot of Japanese beetle damage. You can see like what the Japanese beetles have done to some of the leaves here on this cherry. But you know, I don't think they're killing the tree, but they're taking notice. We're going to put some milky spore on the soil and beneficial nematodes that will start to control the Japanese beetle grubs in the soil. So starting next year, we should see some benefit from that, a reduced impact. And so I got the drip line, the soaker hose that was here in with the strawberries and asparagus. I got that mulched under so that it won't get protected from the sun, and just hold its moisture down, get the maximum benefit from it. And just to get a little more mulch just in this whole bed, you know, is a good idea. These potatoes are just not looking very healthy. I don't know what it is. I haven't really been paying a lot of attention to them, but so they're not the happiest, but maybe they're making good potatoes down in their barrels. I don't know. And then these guys are kind of looking like, who's that from The Simpsons, that clown that was always, you know, like the evil mastermind criminal clown. They kind of look like that to me. You probably can't see it in the resolution in this video, but you know, they got their skinny stalks and then this just like explosion of viney branches going in every direction. So that's what it kind of makes me think of. And let's go down and see the other stuff. Oh, there's some herbs that we got from the nursery, you know, when we were getting the 50% off plants. And one other thing that we got 50% off was some Jerusalem artichokes. And I'm still keeping my eye out for the dwarf sunray variety, because, you know, it's smaller, and I don't know, I don't necessarily want to have a perennial like just the giant kind. But so I put these in a pot to control them, because, you know, my understanding is with Jerusalem artichokes, once they're in there, you know, it's like the tiniest little bit of the roots that stay in the soil. You know, they grow back, and they're hard to eradicate if you ever want to. And I think that I'll want to garden them with them forever, because they're delicious, but you never know. So also, I don't know exactly where should be the permanent home for them. Oh, look at that. I don't know if you can see, there's a hot air balloon up there. Very lovely. That's nice. So the cranberries are all looking very happy, growing and growing. And the aronia has ripe berries. I don't know if you can see. I'm gonna get these a bunch of ripe berries. And unfortunately, I tried one the other day. The first of the ripe aronia berries, choke berries, and it wasn't so bitter. I didn't choke on it at all, but I have to say it was kind of just bland and mealy. So let's try this one and see if it's No, it has a little more flavor, but not much. Bland, astringent, and mealy. So it's possible that aronias are not the crop of the future. Or maybe there's something about, you know, these plants or the soil that it's not making it, you know, the quality of fruit that that they can. There's the persimmon, lots of leaves, and the honeyberry, can't really see it in there, but the one that's alive is, you know, making new leaves and growing. And the two heart nuts here and here are both really just growing. I mean, they've put on an enormous amount of, they've added several feet of growth and lots of leaves. You can see, you know, I don't know if you can see the color in the stalk there. And it's easily, you know, 3 feet of new growth so far. And they're not done. The season's not over. It's only August. So I don't know, digging those things up to transplant them, to give them to someone else or sell them or give them away or something is not going to be easy. But back to the aronias. The other thing is that I find it sort of interesting is in the catalog, the aronia is described as, you know, a lot of people juice them, you know, and sweeten the juice, and it's supposed to be a good juice. And even that's a commercial crop in Europe. But they're just not very juicy at all. So maybe they're actually not fully ripe. Maybe they're still going. You probably can't tell in the video, but that balloon is really moving. It's really trucking right along. And there, I don't know if you can see, it's got its flame on. It's blowing hot heat up in there. Here it goes. All right, so that's the update. And talk to you next time.